Yo, what's up, guys? My name's TB, and to be 100% honest with you, I am excited to do a review of episode 14, Crimson Knight of SAO Season 3, but I didn't do a review of episode 11, and I believe I didn't do a review on episode 13 either. And if you're interested, if you're wondering why, it's because those episodes had a lot of exposition. They were telling you a lot about the world, what happened in the past, what do you need to do now to fix it, stuff about Quinella and stuff about the Cardinal, how they got separated but how they're still bound together, how they're related not by blood but related because they both have high system authority, and a lot of other things. And I was just like, if I do a review on this episode, it's basically just me regurgitating all the information that the show already gave you. And if you're interested in watching Sword Art Online in the first place, you probably paid a lot of attention to what was going on. It didn't really advance the story in any way. It didn't really develop any of the characters anyway. It introduced a new character of Cardinal. We already knew Quinella was in the story because of the first or the second episode in the season, so I felt like there was nothing really important to talk about. But this week, there's some stuff to talk about, so I'm here again. Sorry if you missed me, and if you didn't, well, then I guess none of that mattered. Anyway, this week was good because even though we did have a lot of explanation in this week as well, there was actually some action. Things are progressing. They're going full steam ahead, trying to save Alice, or at least Yu-Gi-Oh is. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about before we even get into the episode. The opening and the ending to this new season, because, it's I believe it's 4 core, so it's going to keep going for a while until this season ends. It focuses a lot on Yu-Gi-Oh. There's a lot of imagery with Yu-Gi-Oh in it, either specifically him or thoughts that he's having in the intro and in the outro. I'm just like, I guess Kirito's more of a side character now. Like, he's a main character, but he's more of like help for Yu-Gi-Oh. He's trying to help Yu-Gi-Oh, acquire his goal, to save Alice. Obviously, Kirito's trying to save the whole entire world itself, the whole underworld, but I feel like this season is going to be focusing more on Yu-Gi-Oh. And it kind of makes sense because this episode really focuses on him as well. In the beginning, they took the portal that Cardinal gave them so they can go get their swords. And it's cool because they don't just see their swords there. They see a whole bunch of armor, weapons, and all this stuff. And Yu-Gi-Oh's like, Kirito, shouldn't we take some of this? And Kirito's like, no, because we should just stick to what we know. That way we'll be able to do our best. And to be honest with you, this kind of reminded me of the old David and Goliath story. In the story David of Goliath, if you don't know, David basically gets, the blessing from the king before he goes out to defy Goliath. And then the king is like, yo, if all you're going out there is with a sling and some stones, you need some armor. You need a weapon. You need something, really powerful to take out this enemy. So he tries it, and then David's like, nah, this ain't for me. This ain't gonna work for me because it's not what I'm used to fighting, and it's gonna hinder me rather than help me. And I feel like Kirito is strong enough to know the difference between using something that seems like it could help him instead of something that could actually help him. Because that probably would have been the situation here. You don't know if they would have won by taking some of the stuff they weren't used to using. They got some clothes there, they look all, fresh and, dope, stuff like that. They got the new clothes, looking pretty good. But they just left there with their swords pretty much. So they're just, banking on their ironclad style working, I guess, for them. One of the things that bothers me about this fight is they fight the Crimson Knight, right? We've seen the Crimson Knight before. They've seen him before too, or at least Yu-Gi-Oh remembers him more than Kirito does, because there's a certain part later in the episode where they talk about the fact that he's the one who took Alice when she disobeyed, the taboo index when she was a kid. But the Crimson Knight seems, every time we've seen him so far, he's been on his dragon, mobile, in the air, shooting arrows. He's never used a sword or any other weapon. So when he fights them, he only uses arrows. But he's in this small hallway, horizontal or vertical to them at all times, and he basically limits himself. He puts himself in a weaker state by having absolutely no mobility. He stands still at the top of the stairs shooting arrows at them, and they do a pretty good job at dodging them at the beginning. And then he's like, yo, you ain't gonna dodge this one. He lights his freaking bow on fire. He goes from looking for a normal bow to this freaking giant ass bow with these huge flames on it and everything, and it looks pretty dope. You get to see some new moves from Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh. Kirito goes in there with this skill where he does the cryogenic element, right, to kind of fend off some of the fire that's coming his way, and he spins his sword. It looks so freaking cool. That actually looks really cool. He spins it to kind of dissipate some of the flames that are coming his way, and you figure that it would make it stronger, right? Because it's wind. Doesn't wind make fire stronger, not weaker? Excuse me. But the way it does it, it like spins around them, and he's able, to fend off the Crimson Knight's first attack. Then he says, Yu-Gi-Oh, go in there. He goes in there. And this is the first time that we've seen Yu-Gi-Oh use the same power that Kirito was able to use, which is as he basically thinks about what's the most important thing to him. He goes in there, he imbues his sword with like the memory or the power or the feelings that he has of Alice. He's able to get in there and just ice this man. He's like, oh, these flames are nothing for you. They're nothing compared to the ice and the blizzard or, the power, the energy that the sword has. And he goes in there and he beats him. Easy peasy. No harm, no foul. Like, even Kirito doesn't sustain any real damage from this fight. He's like, yeah, no, I healed whatever the major burns were. It was no problem for me, bro. That's the one thing like that I don't like about this fight. It was a cool fight, but I felt like the fight would have been way tougher for them if he was on his dragon, flying around, shooting arrows at them. Because what are they going to do? Fly up there and hit them with their swords? No. And one other thing that I feel like Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh really need to learn, they need to learn how to use more system call or sacred arts, because this guy uses a system, I'll put it on the screen right now, he uses a system call that imbues his weapon. He enhances it to make it even stronger. And when they were talking to Cardone, they both got these like pieces of paper that's supposed to make their sword stronger, and they talk about it a little bit more in the episode, but they didn't use it yet. They didn't use it during that fight, so we don't know what these, this piece of paper is supposed to do for them. Apparently it's supposed to make their sword stronger. They chat with him for a little bit, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry that I doubted you guys, and I said you guys were not as strong, but you guys are actually really strong. And then that's when Yu-Gi-Oh finds out, oh, this is your name? You took Alice from me? He gets upset. He's about to cut him down because that's what he wants. He's like, the Pontifex is going to kill me anyway, so you might as well kill me. And Kirito's like, no, you shouldn't kill him. He's not willing to fight anymore. You should just leave him alone. And after that, this is the big, exposition part of the episode where basically they're trying to tell him everything that they know, that the Pontifex is creating Integrity Knights. The Integrity Knights didn't come from heaven. They were normal human beings, normal citizens, but they were taken by the Pontifex. Their memories were erased, and they were made into soldiers that were going to listen to her no matter what, and their memories were taken away. He's like, what? My memories have been taken away. This and that. The Integrity Knights aren't what you think they are. He's like, nah, this is rubbish. It's not true. But then they urge him, do you have a memory that you feel like you keep remembering, that's something that seems off to you? And it's either his sister or maybe it's his wife, someone that he cares about. He says that he keeps seeing them and they keep trying to talk to him, but whenever he tries to figure it out, he wakes up or they disappear or whatever. So there's still hope for this guy. There's still hope for this guy. He might get his memory back one day. It really depends, And that's pretty much the whole entire episode. The whole entire episode is just them fighting and talking to the Crimson Knight. That's it. That's really it. Towards the end, they talk a little bit more about what they got to do, what they got to go. Because the Crimson Knight warned them that they're going to get ambushed by a freaking heck ton of Integrity Knights once they get to floor 50, floor 49, around there. In the end of the episode, they see these two kids, and they look like they're spying on them. Like they're not really sure what they're trying to do. Are they there to help, or are they there to hurt them? You can't really tell because you see that they have swords, like they have weapons. They're not really concealed. They're kind of just chilling there. But one of them is smiling, and the other one is kind of hesitant to really do anything. That's a good way to end the episode because hopefully they're there to help. But who knows? Obviously, it looks like they can fight. So, again, I'm sorry that I've been a little bit wishy-washy with this series, but there's just some episodes where I'm like, man, there is no story progression, there's no character progression. It's just them explaining things that are important for us as the watcher to know, because it explains stuff that's going on in the series. But personally, I just feel like there's no point in covering an episode that spends the whole time just giving us dialogue and explaining stuff. Because, just watch the episode. You don't need me to regurgitate information. I'm here to give my perspective and my theories and where I think the show is going. And I think it's in a good spot right now. I just want them to show more action, dude. Honestly, We need more action. We really do. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Let me know what you guys thought of this review. Are you still keeping up with Sword Art Online? I know the new season of anime has already started, or it's going to start real soon. So I'm going to get another one of my videos up where I talk about what's going to be on my list. Because sometimes I make a list and I don't stick to it 100%. There's some shows that I like on there and I keep watching. And there's some shows that I dropped. But I'll let you know. More stuff is coming, guys. Stay cool. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.